Very stupid.
Can you hear me now?
Very serious.
I saw the red light go on and I went, I reckon I can be heard now. I said so much good stuff.
I know. It's
Oh.
actually a very stupid thing by me just then. I wasn't recording the episode. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, what you've just slacked me there. I just need to, hello everyone. It's lovely to see. I was saying so many nice things about you all.
I forgot to actually record the episode, so when you're not recording,
nothing
comes
well,
through.
that's a blessing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a good system, actually. It keeps you from fucking it.
Keeps you fresh and available.
Yeah.
Fresh like a daisy. I'm just copying something into my rundown. Do you know what's interesting? I'm just writing in my rundown, Tom. And I'm like, I just use a Word doc, and I've been adding to this Word doc for
Ever.
2 years now. It's this. If I just scroll down, it would be every rundown of every episode we've ever done. And went in SEN the other week to be on Pipe's show, Dwayne Russell.
Yeah.
Everyone there's just using Word docs.
Yeah.
No, well, it's not like
They've got some fancy system.
no, you just write your shit down, what you're going to say on the radio.
I think that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, hey, where's your Coke no sugar, Tom?
There wasn't any, and I didn't want to risk going to the shops, especially because you wanted to start 3 minutes early.
Yeah, well, time waits for no man.
So I got a mango Mount Franklin, but it's not particularly mango, is it? It's got like the essence of mango.
But the peach version of that tastes like peach.
Yeah, this tastes like mango. It's just like, it's not strong, is it? But it's no sugar, so you win some, you lose some.
It's as fascinating to me as 53 people on a drop of a dime, ready
to go.
Ready to just turn on our YouTube stream. And I would have been like this too. I would have been just sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah, ready to talk footy.
Or talk about it in the actual show. So I'm gonna once we do it, chuck that over my way.
Sure thing, brother.
I have to mute this one though because I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna press that. I'm just getting all prepared, folks. Getting all my shit in a row. I've been doing this for a year, you know, and it's becoming second nature to be able to just get on here and make the magic. Take a mouthful of my coffee.
Yeah,
from my pod machine, by the way, may I say?
Yeah, I like my filter, but I really like the blacks from the airport. Long backs from the airport. Sounds like a spider, doesn't it?
Do you know what I'm keen for? A good movie to come out. Anyway, I'm going to put that on my list.
Back to 2019. Alexi was talking about how 2019 was a really, really good year for movies.
What came out in 2019?
I can't remember, but it was just like banger after banger after banger.
Can you just say that again once we're on air, like you like it's just come to you?
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's do this. Thanks for the gift, Richard, for everyone. All right. Folks, if you slept once a week, there would be 2 sleeps to the AFL Toyota Hilux hybrid grand final. And how does that make you feel? Does that make the goosebumps stand on the tip of their skin? Well, if you're anything like me, you're frothing to go and bounce that peel. Shit yeah, dudes. Welcome to the AFL show. Welcome to the Footy with Broden. My name's Broden. I'm a comedy guy from the group called Auntie Donna. And about 2 years ago, I was like, I'm going to start doing an AFL podcast because I need to tax deduct KO. I need to tax deduct my MCC membership. And so, alongside me, a person who also said, yes, I'm not doing enough. I've got way too much free time. Was a boy called Tom. He's with me now. Say hello to Tom.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Tom, you keep complaining you have too much free time, but it's lovely to have you here. This is a show for people who love AFL and they love the detail of it and they love people who know what they're talking about. We are the experts of it. We are the Hoyne of the AFL.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
are the David King of the AFL. And how has your week been, Tom?
So good. We went to Sydney and had a lovely show in Sydney and a lovely time in Sydney.
Yeah, you enjoyed your time in Sydney.
I like it. I like popping up there, and we're going to Adelaide and Perth this week.
Yes, we are. Oh, there's a big announcement for the on Wednesday that I'm not going to talk about.
No spoiling.
But it's going to be sick.
It is. Still tickets available for Adelaide. Perth's been sold out for a while, but if you want to come to Adelaide, we'd love to see you.
He would. I don't want to see you.
Yeah, Broden's had enough.
No, as the Sydney people know, no eye contact. There was a few people who came to the Sydney show and it was really lovely and positive, and then they'd come up to say hello to me and I would do my classic meeting a fan thing, which is pretend I'm going to swing, and then they sort of were like, oh no, he seems upset. And you know, that's just how I am. But it has been a full-on week.
Yeah.
I've just been still recovering from the traveling and the things and that. And it just went to Sydney and back, but I'm cooked.
Yeah, 100%. It's
and
big.
The footy upset me deeply. Oh,
The footy was intense, both games.
they were intense. It's cooked me like a sausage.
Like a burrito.
So much so that I turned on Breaking Bad today and watched the final season of Breaking Bad, or watched the last. I watched from Ozymandias to the end, which I think is like 3 or 4 episodes. It's very good show.
I've been so desperate for something to watch. I started watching a Let's Play of Pokemon Uranium, which is a fan-made game. Like, that's how desperate for something to watch I've been.
Can I ask you what the fuck you're talking about?
Yeah, so there was like a fan game made in 2012 or something called Pokemon Uranium.
Pokemon Uranium.
Yeah, and I quite like Pokemon, and I especially watching Let's Plays of people playing Pokemon. So yeah, I started watching that because I couldn't find anything on Netflix to watch.
How did someone make a fan Pokemon game?
So I think usually you can actually do a ROM hack, but I think in this particular instance, I think they actually use RPG Maker, which is like a little game maker. And recreated all the assets and invented new Pokemon and new gyms and new evolutions.
And they haven't been taken down and sued.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Immediately. It had like 2 million downloads in the first day. And
the
then
people of Japan who make Pokemon would not be...
incredibly litigious. They absolutely destroyed it. So it's like a very big underground sort of thing that you can just...
Pokemon Uranium?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I reckon there'd be heaps of people at home who have played Pokemon Uranium.
Do you know what it sounds like from both of us? It sounds like two people who are a bit sad about all the fun teams being eliminated from the finals. You watching Pokemon Uranium, still not entirely sure. Is it no Pikachu then?
No, I don't think Pikachu's in it.
Jesus. And me watching a show that finished 11 years ago. But, it's a fantastic week and we can't wait to get stuck. So many stories. That is one thing for certain. And this episode of Footy is brought to you by BWS. Get your drinks for game day sorted and enjoy the footy with BWS. And Tom, much like it's becoming harder and harder to do around the ground.
Yeah.
Because there's less and less to talk about.
Yeah.
Like there's less games. Round the grounds is literally two areas.
Yeah.
But do you think that means I'm not going to do it?
No.
Shit, no.
You ain't
Round the grounds. Here we go. Will Brizzy chase and the Giants got caught when the Hawks got taken down by Port. So that was Round the Grounds.
That was very good, Broden.
Shout out to RTJ, Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
It was a big week.
It was a huge week.
Sting me.
Okay, pass me the Orcs first. For the good people at home who are absolutely desperate to hear stings.
Oh, seems like forever ago. Bang, bang, bang was the vernacular that was around. My thing I took away from this weekend, woke up Sunday morning and went, if I imbue anything with enjoyment or I support it, it will die.
Yeah.
Anything I like or support will eventually die. You too, Tom, you will now die. Don't get close to me.
No.
I went for the Demons. The Demons had their worst year in 1, 2...
Since you started the pod particularly, because the Ds were good until you started the pod.
Yeah, that's fair to say. And then I was like, well, I'll hop on the Giants. Love their energy, love their memes. Nah, they're out immediately, straight sets. So it's me, isn't it?
Yeah, the DSW team has really gone downhill.
Yeah, they suck now. Everyone sucks. I guess it's me. So the question for everyone, the question now is, I could look at this two ways. I can be like, wow, I'm such a piece of shit that everything that touches my periphery, my kinesphere, my eye line, my focus dies. I could think of it that way. Or I could think, wow, this is my X-Men power.
Yeah.
This is my into the Professor Xavier school of X-Men.
Yeah, you're like Rogue.
Yeah, I should wear gloves.
Gloves, because everything you touch gets drained of its
But
energy.
she had hair.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Professor Xavier and I don't have hair. But I'm also a bit like Beast. In that I'm smart.
And blue.
And I'm also like Cyclops in that I can shoot lasers out of my eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like Wolverine in that I'm Australian. And I'm like Gambit in that I've often played cards. And I have a sort of Cajun accent. Now, Tom...
Yeah.
The reason, why did I bring up X-Men? It's my superpower to be able to destroy things if I like them.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is give the power of this X-Men power, this mutant power, I will turn it over to our audience and say, which team from the men's 4 that's now remaining should I imbue with all of my love and support?
Yeah.
I have one I'd like to give it to, but I'm not going to say it out loud. I will just say, what did I say this year when we were doing tipping a lot? when I tip a certain team, what did I say?
You said I'm doing something.
And what happened?
And they didn't make the eight. I think
I am an X-Men.
I can't remember in my lifetime of watching football, Brisbane or Port winning the granny. So I think
Don't go for them.
I think for me personally, don't go for them. So I think it's out of Sydney and Geelong, who have been imbued with a lot of success over the years.
Well, why don't you rank for me right now from the teams that are left, who got from number 4, who you'd like to see you win it, to number 1?
Okay. So I think 4, Geelong, 2 successful, 2 good. If they win it again, it's a boring storyline. All the fans will be stoked. I'll be stoked for Geelong, but you're too good.
I heard a leak from the AFL, and I shouldn't be saying this because it looks likely to happen. If Geelong win the flag, I think the AFL will shut down. So they're going to stop it. They're going to stop it. They're going to cancel it. So, I think it's just bad for everyone.
Yeah, Geelong's too good. Have been too successful for too long.
Great.
And then similar with Sydney. I think Sydney in 3.
But that is to say, when you say about Geelong, you're like, it's more about you want to see a fun story. And Geelong people should be happy when they do.
Exactly. I like a lot of Geelong supporters. I like a lot of Geelong players. And and I would still very much enjoy their win. But
what are you laughing for?
Because you're making funny faces. And same with Sydney. I love Heaney. I love Chad Warner. I love Blakey. I love even who's the older defender who's been around forever? Dane Rampy. Remember how he climbed the post?
Yeah.
I love Grundy. I think he's a cool dude.
They're your third, great.
Yeah. So and then I think second would be Port. Just because
it would be the funniest to have a fan base who got off him and demanded him fired and then got back on.
Yeah.
And then we're like, nah, we're with him.
Yeah.
And then got off again and demanded him fired again to then win the flag. It would be illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal for you
it would be so
to celebrate that flag.
Right. You're right.
So
but
that's comedically very funny.
I think Brisbane is the most deserving. They did their time at the bottom of the ladder. They did their time where they couldn't get anyone to stay. Their captain, Rockcliffe, left. They really couldn't keep anyone. They spent a lot of time down the bottom, and they probably, were the best team last year and potentially one of the better teams this year as well. So I think Brisbane.
I'm surprised by that. That is actually not my order. That's really interesting. I just want to say we're streaming this one live today, and someone called James in the chat, regular feeder, said that Broden has main character syndrome. and I have a response to that, and that is I'm putting all of my focus on you, James. So I hope you win. See what I've done there?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, let's look at these 2 games that are coming up now.
Okay, great.
It was a dramatic second week of finals,
wasn't it? Incredible.
You could say that again, Broden. So Friday night now, we have Sydney v Port at the SCG.
Yeah.
Which is rocking.
Yeah.
The SCG was rocking 2 weeks ago, and it's going to be rocking again.
Yeah.
Do you give Port any chance of winning this game?
I do. I give them a chance.
What percentage would you give them?
I think it probably a 75-25 situation.
75-25.
Yeah.
Possible, but
possible, but I wouldn't be backing them. No, I think Sydney have shown enough. Chinks in the armor or kinks in the carpet to show that they are beatable at times.
Kinks in the carpet.
Yeah,
I think Port's a fascinating team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you see the records of every time they've been humiliated? They come back and win the next week.
Just every team that's ever been humiliated in the last 10 years in a semi. Is that the first week? What's the first week of finals called?
Yeah,
qualifying finals.
I can't. I'll never understand. Surely,
yeah, but you saw that graphic, right? Where it was like the last 15 teams to lose by 50 plus in the first week. I've always come back and won.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
So there's a real no, we're better than this. But then clearly you're a good team sometimes. The truth of it is, let's talk about Hawthorn.
Sure.
Because after that game, I thought, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I was like, if Hawthorn won that game, they would have almost been my tip for the flag.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, if you're a Hawthorn person, that's a missed one for sure.
Yeah, 100%. The momentum, they were always the momentum team. And I think it's very easy to back the momentum team. I do think that's like a natural, recency bias and stuff. But I think, yes, they were the momentum team, and I would have got on them for sure if they had won.
All the stats were leading their way. There was so much positivity. There was so much, they should feel bad for losing that game.
Yeah. I think they'll...
A week before, it would have been good to just get here.
True.
But now it's like, hang on, they actually could have, because they would have had Geelong next week at Sydney next week at the SCG, which would have been fascinating and interesting, and Sydney could have just not chased them down like they're going to chase down Port. Mm-hmm. And then a home game at the MCG.
Yeah.
So they rightfully should have been emotional and upset after that game.
Yeah, I think so. And I think they'll put that to bed reasonably quickly and then get together and come back even better next year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is Port. Did Port look good on Friday night? I can't tell.
I thought so. I thought they looked markedly better, and I think it was all about intent. And I think we'll probably talk about it later, but I think they played with an edge, they played with an intent, they played with a pressure, and I think we didn't see it last week, and I thought it was excellent, and that's probably what led to them all overstepping a little bit.
Well, they definitely played with an edge. They definitely played with an Adam Copeland. Let's talk about it now. Little reference to WWE fans.
Yeah, I didn't over my head.
Most people, I was for no one, and I was like, I'm not even going to mention it. But now I've really stopped. I've really stopped the podcast to talk about it. So you were asleep at the time because I got right into the reads and experienced this. You know how sometimes you watch a game and then you go and then you find out later there was a drama after. I had all the coverage coming at me.
Yeah, and it was very real for you. For me, it was very much like, oh, why were they so excited in the group chat? Because
because you went to sleep, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think I was mucking around. I wasn't watching the footy or paying attention anymore, but I think I was awake.
Okay, all right.
Because I kept seeing stuff in the group chat and laughing.
Oh, it was. I went back and watched the KO coverage after I watched the Seven coverage.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by the whole thing. It really divided the community in like two very fiery ways. Like people felt it was real. It's what sport and movies and everything does cool sometimes as it goes. Here's a microcosm of things, behavior, thoughts, reactions, interactions. And then here's how the wider community sees themselves or sees actions reflected in this, and how do we want wider society to be. It was really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
So here's what happened, Tom, because you were asleep for a week.
Sure.
Is Jack Ginnivan, fair to say, a provocateur, a saboteur, a raconteur,
yeah,
a sacateur.
Yeah.
He went on a Grundy post. I don't even know what it was. Was it Twitter or
it was Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, the home of the middle ground of many.
Yeah.
Snapchat kids. He might be on Snapchat.
Yeah, probably.
The place for the crazies is X.
He's on TikTok.
The TikTok is, but there's a lot of oldies on TikTok.
Yeah.
I couldn't define TikTok crowds.
Yeah, but could I?
Facebook saying like non-admissible. Anyway, so he said under the comment, he said, "I'll see you in 2 weeks."
Yeah.
The suggestion being that we will beat Port this week and then we will play you.
Yeah. And let's just get straight into that, because my read on that was, if it was any team, anywhere, any place, if he was seeing Grundy in 3 weeks, he would have written that. So I think Port took it very personally when it didn't need to be.
That's not true though, because they're only going to see him in 2 weeks if they eliminate Port.
Yes,
it's not like it's not round 14 versus round.
Yeah, sure. And I think Port took that and said, look how disrespectful he's being. Whereas I feel like there's probably a little bit of Jack that even if it was against any team, he would have written the same thing. I don't think it was necessarily dismissive of Port is my personal opinion. Yes. You know what I mean?
It was whoever would have been in their position.
He would have written it no matter what, because that's, his attitude to how he's going to do it. But what Port did is they took that and they said...
They did Michael Jordan.
They took it personally, right? Yeah.
And I took that personally.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing for Port to do. And I think everyone just assumed that...
Because I didn't think it was a big deal, but people who clearly are good at footy were like, oh, don't do that. Like Luke Hodge was like, don't do that. Yeah. And I was like, Luke Hodge, that's interesting. He and a lot of people went, who gives a shit? And I was like, who gives a shit? Like it's, and then it was interesting because then the game happened and Port took it personally.
Yeah.
And the game was very, very tough, very, very competitive. Watching the game, I remember I was watching this Hawthorn Port game thinking, this doesn't feel like the Bulldogs game. It felt like Hawthorn could play their game against the Dogs. and at points of that game, Dogs could play their version of the game. But at the Port game, watching, I'm like, they can't play their game here. And all of a sudden, Hawthorn's inside 50 was like, okay, well, Chol's not a great full forward, actually. Or like, you know.
And they were very fumbly inside 50.
And they're like, Ginnivan got goals and Nick Watson got some gun goals and they were doing their cheering to the crowd thing. But then they ended up losing. And they could have very well won. There was like, I mean, there was, they lost by what, 5 points? They lost by less than a goal. And then after it, was it Rosie or Butters in the interview? One of them got interviewed on Channel 7 and was like, yeah, like there was media attacking us all week and we told them all to go and get stuffed, you know. And I heard that and I went, that's stupid. That because you lost by a record margin in the first round of finals, like, and you're using that as the reason to, you're using the media as the reason to be mad about the game. That was weird to me, but it did feel like they're all very active and very, very like revved up. And
yeah,
so
and I think that's what they needed to do. I think that was the right thing to do because their intent, I think Rioli in particular said it early, was just like the pressure, like it was the right thing to do. Whether it was misplaced or not, it was a good tactic to be like, we didn't show up last week, we didn't show fight. Let's make sure that we're revved up and we're angry this week they show up.
What was interesting, I guess, is that they used external sources as opposed to internal, which is interesting.
Yes, I agree that is interesting.
Then after the game, like one of the commentators was like, oh, there's something on here. There's a bit of energy. And then they were heading towards the race to cut Bruce off for his 300th.
Yep.
In a losing, they were eliminated. And you see Sicily start abusing someone off camera. And you're like, what's this about? And then what Channel 7 went back and showed Hinkley flapping his hands in the air like a plane. Yeah. And I went, no, he hasn't gone there, has he? No. Thank God he hasn't. They go, and then Sicily starts to yell back at him. They clap Bruce off and then they go their separate ways. And then after that, it gets out that Hinkley was looking at Jack Ginnivan, who was apparently like taking it in his stride. Ginnivan was smiling back and laughing back. But Ken Hinkley, the coach of Port, was yelling at this guy, you're not flying anywhere this week. You're not. So a bit of a jeer back at him.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, Sam Mitchell was very mad about that. And Sicily was very mad about that. And it was, and then everyone went, let's talk about this everywhere. Yeah. And then, so from Hawthorn's perspective, they were very upset, like fan bases were very upset and going very aggressively. And then on the other side, Hinkley, at the first opportunity he got, apologised to through BT. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. It was bad. And then started the press conference with that again, saying I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, walked it back straight away. What did you think of all of that? I thought it was. I think 100%. This is like how I see it, right? I'll try and be as succinct as possible. I think Ginnivan did nothing wrong. Shoot once and shoot well, sir. Yeah, I think Ginnivan did nothing wrong. I think Ken Hinkley made a mistake and did all the right things to walk it back. I think that in my personal life, have been upset over less. And I think I've lost the plot and said some things I regret over less. I think Ken Hinkley made a big deal out of it. Internally, they fired each other up. They revved it up and it got out of hand. And that's what makes him a good coach. And that's what makes him a poor coach at times. So you know what I mean? So I think this was a mistake. He admits it was a mistake. He apologized straight away. He shouldn't have let his emotions get the better of him, but that's also his strength as a coach and a motivator. Wow, we're so close on this because I was watching it live and I saw him doing that and I was like, what did I actually think? What did I actually think? And my first thought was, I felt really sad and sorry for Ken. I felt really bad for him because I was like, I live my life. My secret weapon, I think, in what I do is passion and waking up in the morning going, what am I going to fucking do today to make this happen? And that allowed me to get somewhere in my 20s and get that to like in comedy, being able to crack through was really hard. And I feel like I only got to do it by just waking up every day and being passionate about it. And passion is something that you have to it really drives you. But at the same time, it's your curse as well, because passion gets you to these moments of 11 out of 10, and you do your best in those moments of 11 out of 10, but you will at some points go too far to the point where someone has to say, hey, rein your shit in. Or you said in a moment of passion, in a moment of heat, you went too far. And I was like, fucking hell. I felt how Ken would feel 100 times, where the best night of his life, arguably, he's been told all week that he's going to get the sack. Yeah. It's his last game ever. He's been embarrassed, he's been humiliated, he's focused and whatever. And then he's done it, and his team's done it for him. And in that moment of passion, he's fucking done the wrong thing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you've ruined it. Because now, if it was me, I'll never be able to look back on that night and feel completely good about it. There's been so many nights where I've been in a position where it's been a great show in front of this awesome audience, and then I've said one thing and I've gone, fuck, now I'll never think about that night positively again. Yeah. And I'll never feel good again. So I felt bad for him. But he did what I reckon 90% of people in his position don't do, which is immediately went, fuck, I've done the wrong thing here, and I've apologized. Yeah. And as you said, that's a huge step forward. It doesn't like at the same time, he didn't do anything, like he wasn't aggressive.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't punch anyone. He didn't break any laws. Or he just definitely overstepped. I think I would also say that Hawthorn fans and Sam Mitchell have every right to be upset, but I think also there's been a huge alliance between that club for ages. So I'm happy that they're going to be
it's great rivalry
against each other now, because for ages they shared coaches, shared players.
My thought straight after when I thought about it too was like, I have been everyone in this story. I've been Ken, who said something emotionally and then fucking ruined the night. Yeah, I've done that, and I've been someone on the other side who is upset already, who's 10 out of 10 upset, and then someone's done something, and I've used that to take offense even more. I've done that at Monday Night Basketball. I've been I'm sure they were mad, but they were in a place where they were already mad, and they've gone, how fucking dare you? Yeah, 100%. And I've been them. I've been Sam Mitchell. I've been the fans. I've been Luke Bruce. I feel like. Yeah, I feel like I've been everyone, and so I was like, it's just a microcosm of human existence. I thought, and fascinating and interesting.
I don't think he'll cop the fine, and he'll cop the media attention. I listened to I don't know the name of it, but Waitley does a show on Saturday mornings and
Crunch Time,
and he was on, and I think he said all the right things. He didn't go as far as to say he said he regretted the actions, but he didn't go as far as to say that he would not do it again, or he didn't fully apologize, but I think he said the right things, and I think a lot of Hawthorn greats are taking it a step too far.
You talking about
Dermot, Hodgie, they're the ones who have been the most scathing on it. Lewis.
Hodge was pretty good after the game. I thought he was pretty fantastic, because in the moment you shouldn't be doing that, and he was right. And then afterwards he said he apologized, so great. Yeah. So that's the end of it. Dermot Broden is once stepped on a boy's head.
Stomped on a man's head.
Deliberately. So,
Yeah, not a lot of moral high ground there.
And
But I just think the last thing I say is I touched on it earlier, but I feel like there's Reddit comments from our beautiful community who I love that, if caught in the wrong moment, I'd be pretty mad about and say the wrong thing too. So I get it.
And there's a lot of, I think the internet's a fucking awful place, and it's full of people with no accountability for saying what they say. Yeah. And I feel I only respect people's opinion if they can show me that they've they're the entire self of the person. So, but I thought it was a fascinating back and forth.
Yeah. And yes, that my original point, sorry to interrupt, but I think without that edge that brought him to say those comments, they don't win the game.
That's right. It's like that's why I felt like I empathized with him, as I saw myself in it. It's a constant battle between having what wakes you up and gives you strength, and why he is the head coach getting whatever $1 million a year. It's why he's a person who can do that. But it's a constant battle with harnessing that in a positive way. Yeah. And being a good person. That's something I'm constantly trying to do better and better with. And it's I just think he apologizing was fantastic, and but he also shouldn't have done it. Yeah. But then also Hawthorn on the other side of it. Do you think that they've been we run wild? Yeah. Do you think next year they will still approach the game the way they have, where people can say what they want and go wild and taunt crowds and all of that? Or
the worst possible result would for Guinea to be put on a leash. Like, and I genuinely think that would be the worst thing to come out of this. Like,
I genuinely don't think I don't know. I don't think he cares.
I think a lot of the AFL fan base is saying it's his fault that Port won because he inflamed them. They put it on the board. They said, this is what gave us the edge, and people are blaming him for that, which I think is outrageous and such an overstep. And like, I love personalities in the game. I would not like Guinea as a person. Like, we would not get along, me and Guinea, but I love him in the game. I love what he brings to it. I love his attitude. I love the mongrelness about it. And for him to pare that back because of this stuff, I think would be a huge loss.
I think you probably, if I was Hawthorn, I would just go, maybe it did. Maybe it did, but maybe our goal is to become stronger so we can harness all that energy, but then still win.
Yeah.
Maybe because maybe it did affect them so deeply. But we've talked about that way too much. I thought it was a very good game.
It was.
Give me a sting.
The Bombers are coming hard. They're coming very hard.
Bombers are not coming hard.
No, they're not.
Do you know who is coming hard?
Who?
Dustin Martin to Queensland.
Yeah.
So it was reported during the week, Tom, as one of the 3 Wikipedia fans of note for Gold Coast Suns, alongside a surfer and an ex-mayor, that Dustin Martin's team has approached Gold Coast Suns and he has said, hello, Mr. Gold Coast, can I please play for you, please? And that's word for word.
Yes.
He said, I would please. He said, "Putty please."
He said, "Putty please."
Can I play for the Gold Coast Suns?
Yeah.
So he's 33.
Yeah.
How do you D? And he said he retired. He retired. We've been saying this all year, but I'm sort of bleeding out. He retired and then didn't play the last few. And now he's like, please let me come play with my best mate Dimmer and Daniel Rioli, and I want to play here. What do you think of this, Tom?
Got 3 takes on this. As we watch the Gold Coast lose to GWS on the big screen here and Charlie Rowbottom putting in another virtuosic performance. That's my little Gold Coast bit for the game.
That's good.
So I think 3 things. 1, I'd be surprised if the AFL didn't pitch in for this, for a marketing thing.
Okay, can I talk to that firstly?
Yeah, please go.
So you're suggesting that he will get ambassador money in the way a Buddy Franklin or a, is often given.
I think he should. I think if I didn't barrack for Gold Coast, I'd be up for that. He must be at least top 5 most marketable players in the AFL, right? At the end of his career.
Let me talk to it this. So apparently ambassador money is very triggered. So it can't just be you get money.
Yeah.
It needs to be you need to show up at X amount of media. You need to go to primary schools.
And that's not him.
All the things we know Dustin Martin loves doing, which is 1, talking, and 2, going around and seeing people and doing stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
Their suggestion that it's going to be very, very difficult to get that money for him. Go on.
2, I think despite all those things about him, there was talk at one point at Richmond about him being a potential captain, even though he hates talking in public. Because I think he is a leader. I think he's an understated leader. I think he sets example on the track and on the field. So I think there is power in having him there as a leader and stuff. But I think the third and most important point is I have 0 on-field expectations. And I'm comfortable with that as a Suns fan. If he's there, helps with marketing, helps being a leader who understands Dimmer's game plan and what Dimmer likes, but plays 8 games and has mediocre games, I'm comfortable with that.
How crazy is it the Gold Coast Suns will have had, if everything goes according to plan, Gary Ablett Jr. and Dusty Martin and Carmichael Hunt, the 3 greatest AFL players to ever play.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the Gold Coast Suns will have Dusty and Gary. Out in the last 15 years.
Imagine if they had them at the same time. If they had got everything right and had them at the same time, they would have actually been unstoppable.
They wouldn't have been able to afford it. That's the other thing.
Tom Lynch as well.
I don't think he's going to get much money.
No, I don't think he is either. That's why I assumed marketing money.
So why maybe they're going to try and get marketing money, and if they can't get it, it falls through.
And if they don't, like they've just delisted a bunch. Like Sam Day was one of our senior players, would have been on a bit. Brandon Ellis has retired and would have been on a bit. Like there might be a little bit of room. Depends what happens on the trade
Mac
table.
Andrew.
But yeah, I mean, Mac has obviously got paid
$12 million.
But if Lukosius gets traded, like if there's a bit of movement, I think there might be a little bit of money there. But I mean, with Dusty, if we can pay him 400, 500, which is getting close to median salary now.
Yeah. I think...
it's not a bad couple of years, right?
I think the AFL is desperate for Gold Coast to be at least like GWS.
Yeah, at
so
least.
straight sets exits.
Yeah.
And so that they can make a proper, genuine play for Queensland. And so I think they will move. I think the board or whatever they call themselves will move the goalposts and find a way to give him money without having to do any media.
I would. If I didn't barrack for Gold Coast, I would.
Yeah, I'm two of the most on-board Gold Coast people here ever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what frustrates me, and it's not a fault of Dusty. I guess it is a little bit, but he's clearly had this goal for over a year.
Yeah.
And he's gone, I'm going to get to 300 with this club. I'm going to have a goodbye year and then I'm going to go up. But it just seems like it's so calculated. But what confuses me and frustrates me is so many media people appear to have known this all year, but been told not to say anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just it's all set up.
Yeah. If I was a Richmond fan, I'd be a little salty. I think the Triple Ds have all been a little ratty, to be honest. I think Dimmer, Daniel, and Dusty all a little sly in the way they've gone about it. They've all known they're going to go there.
Why do they all love Dimmer so much? Is it because of Dimmer?
3 flags. I think Dimmer's probably selling the candy of like, we're going to win a premiership up here. Like, look at the talent we have. Look at the opportunity up here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rioli believes that he can get another flag with Gold Coast before he does with Richmond, potentially.
It's felt like Dusty has had a vibe of someone who doesn't really is not interested anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like the question: how does he actually care and he really wants to play? Like, and does he want? Why is it Gold Coast because of Dimmer, or does he want to help them, or what?
It's interesting you say this because it's like when some of the Hawthorn superstars won 4 flags. Why did Lewis bother to go play for Melbourne? Why did Hodge bother to play for Brisbane? Why did Sam Mitchell bother to play for West Coast?
Well, they got fired. Pretty much.
Yeah, but why bother? Like, you already won you know what I mean? It's the same with Dusty. Why bother?
Because they probably felt they were still good.
And maybe Dusty feels that maybe Uze said straight up to him, you're not in the next premiership
No way he said that. There is no...
Well, like, that would be being honest, wouldn't it? Like...
My things are like, maybe I can help... Maybe Dimmer got in his ear at the end of last year and just said, I want you to... This team is... Come help me do this in a nice sunny area. Come to Gold Coast.
No one will care. Yeah.
There's red roosters. But
there's surfing, there's nightclubs, and there's no AFL media now. But once he gets up there will be. But
no, do you think Queensland people would care about him playing?
I think they genuinely would. I think he's one of those. I think he's one of the few stars that perhaps have transcended AFL.
Dusty, he's in a lot of media and stuff.
Yeah,
and I feel like, even to an extent, like because maybe Queensland audiences, our audience who are from Queensland are very smart and very AFL literate.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, some of the smartest actually. People are saying it, but there'd be a lot of Queenslanders who would be like, I've heard that name. Fuck, he's coming to Queensland. I will pay attention.
Yeah.
And so on that level alone, he should get money.
Yes,
probably.
That's my belief. And again, if I didn't barrack for Gold Coast, I would still agree with that because I want to see the game thrive and grow.
My opinion is the team is just there, and they were going to fire anyway. But if Dustin Martin comes into that team and he's at 50% of how good he is, they're going to be so good.
Well,
just put him down the forward line.
I mean, what's our problem at Gold Coast is we win the games that we need to, that we seemingly give up and fade away in games that are winnable. Dusty has never allowed that to happen. Do you know what I mean? Don't you think? Like, well, he took those finals where he won Brownlow and stuff. He single-handedly took those games by the scruff of the neck, kicked 4 goals himself. He absolutely had performances where he single-handedly won flags.
If Rioli and him come in and then they're all of, Raul and everyone looks fantastic, then I think it puts them right into premiership contention. And I know that's a step, maybe a step extra for you from finals, but I think they can make a big jump, like I was going to say Freo, who didn't do it, like a team who like a real into the final Hawthorn kind of jump.
Yeah, I just want to see who we lose because I think it's only just we've delisted 6, and I think it's only just begun. Is my gut feel? I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm interesting. It feels like the list management's starting to happen right there.
Yeah,
but anyway, Dusty, welcome to Gold Coast. Give us that sting. Brian Taylor liked the reel of me doing his impersonation.
Yeah, great. Love that.
So he must have been laying in bed, flicking through reels.
Yeah.
And he's going, oh, wow, what are we going here? Wow. Very relatable. So, congratulations on that reel.
Well done.
Let's talk about the other game.
Okay, great.
Which was Saturday night. GWS, let's just start with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I was so excited about them is I think no team in the league has looked better at periods.
Yeah.
The way that they were so sleek and so like Tom Green is so good, Jesse Hogan's so good, Sam Taylor's so good. Everyone's so good. But they just couldn't do it for 4 quarters.
Yeah,
Clearly. There was those 2 games, I think the other teams were in front for 10 minutes of the running time of both of those games.
Yeah.
Like they should be fucking mortified because if they just sorted out that by 15 to 10% a little bit more, they would have been more of a chance than Hawthorn of winning the flag.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you specifically when you say their best is the best, but they just haven't been able to sustain it. But
I genuinely think maybe Swans.
Yeah, the Swans' best has been very good. I mean, it's hard to cherry pick, but I feel like GWS at times have just looked incredible. But what the most incredible thing about them is how they keep managing to pluck. They just put Peatling in the middle this week.
Yeah.
Just you're a midfielder now.
Yeah,
go for
there
it.
you go again.
He only played 8 games and was sub 6 times or whatever, but it's like you're the midfielder now. And it's just like they did the same with Brett Daniels, Darcy Jones. Like that's the most incredible thing about them is they have talent everywhere.
It's such a bummer because also like they're not young. Like they have a lot of youngsters and it's probably going to be fine. But I'm starting to look at players like Cogs and I'm not looking at Toby Green now who's getting old. Mm-hmm. And you go, this window is not forever and it's really hard to win a flag and it was there this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Such
it was
a bummer.
There more this year than last year for sure.
Yeah. But, it's one of those things like they could be like a Geelong where they just keep showing up every year and they're going to get one eventually.
I mean, that would work for memberships and that would work for growth in Western Sydney. Right?
That appears to be the Geelong model, which is just keep getting up there.
Yeah.
And things, the path will show itself some years and you'll miss out in a prelim or you'll miss out in an elimination one year and it'll just keep moving the right way. But good on them. Like, I think they're the best. I think what I enjoyed about, being a bandwagoner for a few weeks is just competency through the teams and like, yeah, they missed out as a GWS player for the W, just kicked. They were 5 meters out from goal and kicked it to the player on the mark and absolutely cooked it. I enjoyed their there's so many nice watchable players. Like I haven't seen a player like Jesse Hogan take marks inside 50 so beautifully. It was such a nice watch. So it's Varley GWS.
It really is. It's sad.
And Varley to Hawks, we should say as well. They'll both be around it next year.
Oh, yeah, they'll be fine.
There'll be a lovely flag next year.
At least another couple of years.
Let's talk about the curious case of the Brisbane Lions. So who's great in this team now? Who? Like Ashcroft was the guy.
Ashcroft was the guy.
Which is crazy in a team of Lockie Neal and Zorko and Dunkley.
Yeah, and McCluggage, let us not forget.
Your McCluggage and Rayner. And who's your boy?
Which one do I like?
At the end of the year, Suns let him go.
Oh, is he still playing? I don't know. What's his name? Jared?
Berry was good too.
Yeah, Berry was good.
Anyway, I've tangented, but at periods of that game, they looked atrocious. And then from halftime on, looked superstar-esque.
It's like one of those boxing matches when 3 rounds, one team got to bash the other person, then for the next 3 rounds, the other person
Giants just shut down.
It was crazy.
So maybe Giants just didn't let them get their game going, but they're actually fantastic and they'll actually line up against Geelong. But I'm just like, I don't feel... Well, I look at their forward line and I go, Cameron missing, has kicked a few goals, but is out of form.
Hasn't
now.
been as good as last year, that's for sure.
Hipwood, self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And then a guy called Danaher, who won the game by himself.
Absolutely.
But then was nowhere near it for the rest of the game. It felt like
I agree.
hopefully he I just don't I can't read them. You feel very high on them.
I feel very high on him because, like, when you were just talking about superstars, we didn't even touch the back. We didn't even touch the fact that Harris Andrews is an all-Australian fullback, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I do feel, and I think Oscar McInerney, despite me not rating him that highly as a ruck, was very good against Briggs.
Yeah.
He was very, very good on the weekend. I think they have, they're stacked on every line, which is a good recipe for, except for maybe the forward line when you put it the way you did, which is a recipe for a good team. And they made the grand final last year, and some would say that they should have won it last year. So I don't know. I feel like I back them, maybe not against Geelong, but I feel like I back them to show up and be good.
In my opinion, Geelong are a 1-to-1 chance of winning the flag now. Like, I just think it's a fait accompli. Is that the Latin? How do I say fait accompli?
I think you nailed it.
Fait accompli.
I just can't.
What does it mean?
You know how everyone from Geelong was giving me shit last week because they were like,
Fait accompli.
Fait accompli. With saying, oh, you just can't get on because you don't like them. I realised why I can't get on them, Brendan. It's one simple fact. Is they went up to Darwin and got flogged by 100 points by Gold Coast.
You're talking about Geelong?
Yeah, and Bailey Humphries kicked 6 goals and, like, we just destroyed them. That's why I'm not confident in them. It's just one game.
There was a stat that was in the time Gold Coast has been playing. No team that has lost to the Suns has won the flag.
Yeah.
Which eliminates Geelong.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing going. I think MCG and experience.
And that's all that stuck in my head. I was really sitting down. I was like, do I hate Geelong? Do I have a bias against Geelong? And I thought, no, it's just that one game. I just can't back a team that lost that badly against an awful team.
Did you see the Harris Andrews sort of hit? I guess it was a football act, but it ended with Cogs, who got hit very hard and laid down for a very long time. For me, who knows nothing, it looked like a guy going, well, that's me done.
Yeah, busted eye socket or something.
But that's
right?
me done. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That, like, he was laying there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And went, well, okay, I think I'm going to retire now. How old's Cornelia?
I mean, he'd still be 32 or something, ex-captain, right? But I don't know. I feel like it was definitely a bad concussion and definitely probably a ruptured, shattered, broken eye socket, right?
He looked very upset.
Yeah.
But he didn't go to hospital, so I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
No. Well, then I think he'd be fine then, I think.
Yeah.
He'll have a couple more years left in him, I think.
Maybe that's the... I mean, you look at Collingwood last year, and there were so many games you go, well, they shouldn't have won that, so they'll lose next week.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. So maybe that's Brisbane this week. Last week just had an absolute, belted a team who shouldn't have been there, and that actually softened them up. And then this game's got them into match hardness perfectly for Geelong next week. I mean, it might be a great contest. It'll be at the MCG and there'll be 70, 80,000 people there, so that'll be pretty full on.
Yeah. It'll be really tough to tip. I'm not sure where I sit yet. I just think Brisbane are really awesome, and we've just got to see them get it together, and they should be able to win.
They're your number one. You want them to win the flag.
I think so. I think of, like, they have some players I really don't like, but I think of Fags. I think of Neil. I think of Dunkley, who I'm a massive fan of. I think I like a lot of their players, and I think I think Melbourne was so sweet because you did so much time down the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think Brisbane, they did their time down the bottom.
They've been around it for such a long time now. It would be a real bummer if this team didn't get a flag.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's going to be so. I mean, that's the fun of it, right?
But I only know about Geelong, and that I know for certain. I know for certain
they're going to show up.
Not that they're going to show up. That they're going to show up and win the grand final. I'm like 100% certain that they are going to win the grand final.
Look, they might.
But it'll be lovely to see Brisbane beat them next week.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And then that would mean, is it certain? No, I was going to say, if Brisbane win, then it's the first no Melbourne team, no Victorian team in there for a while. But I was going to say, no, there's still a very high chance that a Victorian team will be there in the grand final.
Because Geelong
100% chance of winning the grand final.
Yeah.
Sting me.
Look at the dogs on the mark. Look at them.
Hey, it's everyone's favourite segment now, folks. Stats Amore.
Stats Amore.
I feel like it was just a week ago that you did Stats Amore. How long ago was it?
2 weeks ago.
That's more recently than your Stats Amore before that.
I think we wanted a couple of Stats Amores in the finals, probably.
Ah, yeah, Stats Amores.
Stats Amore in the finals.
The BWS Stats Amore, not Stats, but the BWS thing, they're pushing.
Yeah,
they're around everywhere.
They're pushing it. And as Broden alludes to, Stats Amore is brought to you by refreshingly BWS Stats.
Go, Tom, go.
So I wasn't really sure what to do this weekend, and I had a fun idea, Broden, that I was like, oh no, this is the wrong one. Sorry, give me a second.
Oh, the front half was good, but.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you. So I had this thought about, because Supercoach is over, right, Broden?
Yes.
I didn't look at the stats this weekend.
Because of Supercoach?
Yeah, because so usually I'm on the app, like checking disposals, all that sort of stuff.
We call you Mr. Data.
Yeah, because I'm obsessed with Supercoach, right? It's finished for the finals, so it's not happening. So I thought I'd do a fun thing where I would go out and think of my top 5 performances from this weekend off the top of my head, but then go into the stats and go, who's my top 5 performances this weekend off the stats and compare them.
Explain that to me in a different way.
Okay, so without looking at the stats, who's my top 5 best performances from the weekend? And then stats-wise, who's my top 5 best performances?
And see if there's any crossover?
Yeah.
Right.
So
I like it.
So my top 5 just off the top of my head, and I didn't look at stats, didn't look at anything. I was just like, who are my top 5 best performances from the weekend? I had Rioli. Thought Rioli's performance was incredible. Then I had Tom Green in 4, Jesse Hogan in 3, Sicily in 2, and Joe Danaher in 1. Because I thought Joe's 2 goals weren't counted.
Read that list again for me.
So 5, Rioli. 4, Tom Green. 3, Jesse Hogan. 2, Sicily. And 1, Joe Danaher.
Okay.
So that's who I sort of thought. And I wanted to put that out there to be like, to the eye test, that's who I thought were the 5 best performances. But now I'm going to tell you who I thought the 5 best stats-wise were.
Great.
So at number 5, we have Will Ashcroft. 27 disposals, 14 contested.
He's
in 5th.
Okay, right.
Yeah, 9 clearances, 10 score involvements, 2 behinds is the only knock on him, I'd say.
Yeah. Was he their best player?
I think, well, no, actually, not according to my list, but I think they moved him into the middle and he tore open the game. Did you see the footage of him evading 7 tackles?
No.
Yeah, he got the ball and just went, it's just insane. He's going to be such a good player.
Is that his arrival game?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's comfortable to say. And I think the other thing is like why I wanted to highlight best performances this round is because this is where champions are truly made, right? Like in finals, right?
Yes, it's true.
So in number 4, I had Tom Green, 33 disposals, 21 contested, 10 clearances. The only knock on Tom Green was he went at 45%. But pressure, that's what happens. He got it out. He scooped it out. An amazing performance.
I think he's as good as the best players. I think he's as good as Bond, I think
that is like that disposal is not the first time he's done that. And when he fixes that up, he's going to be, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think Bond ever has games where he turns it over 1 out of 2 times, you know?
2 weeks ago.
Well, he just didn't get the ball 2 weeks ago. Yeah. He was too healthy. In 3, we have John Newcomb, who sort of went under my radar. I know he was playing very well, but on Friday night, he had 31 disposals, including 16 contested at 80%. He had 6 clearances, 6 tackles, and 18 pressure acts. Just an incredible game from Joe.
And hard to decipher him and who he is now. But
yes, 100%. And I think perhaps that's why he didn't make my original list right. I know he's been playing well, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
In number 2, I have Jesse Hogan, of course. 5 goals and 1 behind. He gave 1 off. Should have kicked 6. 8 marks, 8 score involvements. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Like, superstar. But then in number 1, and this is interesting, you mentioned him earlier, Jared Berry. He had 27 disposals, right? And 500.
Is he number 1?
Yeah, he had 27 disposals, 560 metres gained. He had 13 contested possessions, 8 intercepts, which is huge, 5 score involvements, and 19 pressure acts. I think he was, according to the stats, perhaps the best performance of this weekend. And I'll be very interested in the comments below the Instagram post who people think it was the best performance individually this weekend.
Tom, elite. Well done, Tom.
Thank you, mate.
Sting me.
Anytime, any place, 11 venues, free smoke wherever you want it.
No smoke for Giants this year.
No,
the smoke's going to cost you now. That's brought up for me 2 people that I wanted to bring up. First one is Burgoyne.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that was almost his arrival game, but I think he's had good. He's inconsistent still because he's got the build of 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, 100%.
But
no,
you
he
st-
was very good as
You're
well.
starting to see how good he is, because he was like, he felt like the one who was like, oh, we're fucking winning this.
Yeah, see, I had the same experience, but with Rioli.
Right.
The way he tackled and attacked the ball, especially his forward pressure, I was like, yeah. But Burgoyne was really good late.
But up the start as well, he was getting plenty of it and
Yeah.
kicking well. And like, talk about efficiency of kick, like he looked really, really, really good, Burgoyne. The other one is Brent Daniels. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. He must feel awful today. That's all I mean to say.
Yeah.
You aware of this?
No, I saw him break a couple of...
No, it's not positive.
no?
No. In the last quarter, would have sealed it. Free kick paid to someone in the forward line. He takes advantage and soccers the ball
Oh, was
into the
that him?
post.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking. He must feel awful today.
I mean, he played very well, but yes, I hear you.
They're just two things I wanted to mark before I went into. Tom, I've made a list
Okay, great.
just about Sydney.
Yep.
Now I'm going to need your Sydney notes if you still have them around.
From...
It's the Sydney show.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because I'm going to talk about the 3 best moments of our Sydney shows that I felt like people need to hear
Yep.
who weren't in the room.
Sure.
The first one is your list dominated. So Tom made a list of his favourite foods in Sydney.
Yeah.
And it just was, I don't know if it was meant to be comedic or not, but people laughed a lot because he was like, I'm going to show you my favourite foods and then I'm going to cater them. I'm going to present them as a dinner. And you just said a lot of ice cream and chicken, just a chicken place, an ice cream place, a chicken place, an ice cream place. And it was the act of a psychotic man.
Yeah, but we put together a great meal in the end. So
What were the chickens? You said like El Jana and you had...
we had Al Jana, we had a Porto, and we had charcoal chicken shops. But
He said all my favourite food places in
you know,
Sydney. It was just 3 different chicken places.
unless I do the whole bit again, then you're missing the nuance of it. There was a lot of nuance.
And then what were the desserts you said?
Messina and pancakes on the rocks.
And then the second thing that I really liked
Yeah,
is Cooper from Cooper Hamilton was there in the crowd.
yeah,
And I was like, the whole GWS crew's here, and that was lovely.
yeah. Legends.
And then the best part of the show, not for me, but I got a bit excited at one point
Yeah.
and was riffing with the crowd.
Yeah.
And I walked for emphasis, I stood up from my seat and walked to the edge of the stage to say some stuff. And I fell off the fucking stage.
Yeah.
And it was very, very embarrassing.
Not the first time you've comedically fell off a stage.
Have I fallen? When?
Like in Mug, in that episode of Mug.
I fall over a lot and people just love making fun of me for falling off stages.
Because I'm not sure if you did it on purpose. I'm still not sure if you didn't do last Wednesday on purpose.
No, I
as well.
fell to my death, man. But I was completely fine and everything was fine and the crowd was forgiving of it.
Yeah, and a nice person caught you.
They didn't catch, I fell in their face.
Yeah.
But it could have been so bad.
It could have
Why
been.
did I not have awareness of where the end of the stage
Yeah, I'm
was?
not sure.
It could have been horrific. I could have, imagine halfway through this fun live podcast, I just step off the stage and fall and fucking die in front of like 300 people.
Yeah.
That's the other
100%.
cool thing I haven't mentioned. That I was like, yeah, the room is not sold out. Sydney doesn't sell out things. They never have. They never will. We walk out, the room's fucking full.
Yeah.
Full.
Very
Full to the
nice.
brim with diehard Sydney people who love their footy. So that was sick. Sting me.
Collingwood have closed like the Grim Reaper.
No, they've closed shop like the Grim Reaper,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
They're back training.
No, they're
Yeah,
not.
they've had their holiday already, isn't it?
no.
crazy? Yeah, so
Young players would do or something.
yeah, I saw Nick do his his day in the life of a Collingwood and he's back training.
No, yeah, but they'd be running around, but not formal training maybe.
No, perhaps not, but still. Isn't that
It's
crazy?
funny, he's in their under 21 squad still. It's crazy. It's time for the AFLW report, Tom.
Great.
First game of the weekend, Eagles have beat the Dogs. Dogs fired though,
Yeah.
because it was the first home we've arrived. Whitten Oval's done.
Rebrand, relaunch.
Awful pissing rain night, I believe.
Yeah.
But they showed fight. I reckon Dogs will win one, but not this night. Eagles ran away with it. Daisy, the power of Daisy.
Power of Daisy.
Brisbane Lions look like they're going to go back to back.
Yeah.
So Collingwood just got pumped by them at Brighton Homes Arena.
Yeah.
A short 48-hour drive from
The Brisbane people don't like that you make this joke.
Oh no! What are you going to do?
With Casey being, but you always say, coming from someone who with Casey Fields 8 miles away as well. So.
Yeah, yeah. So it's anywhere. Yeah, they're all shitholes. Yeah. Casey's a shithole.
Yeah, well, Casey.
Frankston game should not be played at Frankston.
No.
But it's
it's funny though.
And then the other, so then there was that, and then I've lost the plot here. So Brisbane are just going to go back to back, and they might imagine if they won men's flag, women's flag.
That'd be so good.
That would be.
I'd be so down.
Queensland. They would crown Queensland the home of AFL.
Yeah.
And then Dusty goes up there and it's all over. Holy shit. And then the next game, Richmond beat the Swans.
Yeah.
At Coffs Harbour.
I want to go to all these places.
Do you, but?
I really do. I'm so into it. I almost went to a just a local game on Saturday I was invited to because I wanted to go, but then it was pissing down, so I didn't go.
Geelong have dropped off dramatically. Mm-hmm. This game was on Saturday yesterday. Do you remember the hail? The hail. I was taking the dog for a walk yesterday.
Yeah.
Shadow doesn't like the rain.
No.
We're walking. We go out, and then it starts to fucking bash us. And Shadow's like, run!
Yeah.
And we both had to run, sprint home, and it was like, fucked. It was crazy. But Carlton won.
Yeah, and Geelong drew with North Melbourne last week,
yes.
right? So it's like, what's going on there?
Yeah, complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And then Port lost to Freo.
Yep.
Strange again. Like Freo was shit.
Port are sick, right?
Port are sick.
Yeah.
Maybe not as sick as we thought.
But Freo beat Essendon, so...
And I'm just, indulge me for a moment as I talk about this game.
Yeah, please.
D's are officially shit now. We're shit.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Like, and there were some very important players who were so frustrating and annoying to watch today. I won't name them out yet. Maybe down the track I will. Mm-hmm. But just awful inside 50. Mm-hmm. Just so bad. And then North just belted us. They saw that they didn't want it.
Yeah.
And just closed it out. North looked incredible as well. Just kicked our ass by 50 points at Casey. Adelaide, good. Just belted the Hawks right now. At Windy Hill, something like the first time Saints have won at Windy Hill since 1978 or something like that. So Saints now, do you know where they are, Tom?
They should be number one. I think there's only 3 undefeated teams now.
They are on top of the ladder.
So it's Adelaide, Saints, and who else is undefeated?
That's it. Because Kangaroos tied, so they're 2 points behind.
But not defeated, I see. So I've been on the Saints since round 1, since they did it to Gold Coast. So I'm looking into the crystal ball here, I think.
It would be huge for W if Saints are this good. Because then Saints fans will, I reckon more so than any other AFL team, just turn the fuck out now.
Yeah. But you know what's cool about it, Broden? It's not the Saints players who tore apart Gold Coast, who tore apart Essendon today.
Who was it?
So it wasn't like against Gold Coast, it was like Vesely who was destroyed us single-handedly. I was looking at her stats today and she had like 7 disposals, you know, like, so it looks like the Saints might be well balanced and a little deep. Could be wrong there, but it's super interesting.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And then the last game that went on is going on right in front of us with 9 minutes left, and there is 1 point in it, Tom.
Yeah.
GWS versus Gold Coast, the Expansion Cup. Maybe we'll report back to this later.
Yeah,
but Gold Coast were down by 15, 16 for a lot of this game, and they've made a vicious, violent return. It's very good. It's very
so
good.
Just from the eye test, it looks like Charlie. Give me an update on Charlie's stats, Brendan, because it looks like
you love
Charlie
Rowbottom.
No, it looks like to the eye. Domination.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
I would think
that's why the eye. That's why you should. That's why you see.
Am I wrong? Because I love this.
She is the game high disposal getter. She is 10 disposals clear of the person in second.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, she has 32 disposals with 9 minutes left in the game.
My God.
No goals though. So
what about tackles? What about tackles? She usually lays about 15 tackles.
Well, see, don't be inflammatory.
Yeah.
She's actually got 9. Game high 9.
Going to have another quadruple double, perhaps.
It looks to be a game between Rebecca Beeson, who has 1 goal and 22 disposals and 8 tackles for GWS, versus Rowbottom with 32 disposals and 9 tackles.
Pretty incredible.
And there's someone who on your team called Lucy Single.
Oh, yeah.
Cheese, I call her. Cheese Single.
Yep.
So it's drawn now. So there's 7 minutes. We'll have to come back to this.
We'll have to come back to it.
But it's starting to take form. Saints are going to win the flag.
Yeah, I think
you genuinely can't say until you play North or Brisbane.
That's true. That's the brutal thing about Melbourne is you had the hardest fucking start to the season.
I think it's cooked us now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I can't straight face say that they have a proper chance.
Yeah.
So it's a genuine bummer. Sting me.
The man that likes planes, Jack Payne.
How was Jack Payne?
Yeah, good, I think. Reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Sting level, you know?
Nah, not really.
Well, he sounds like one big malacca.
How do you feel when Dad chucks on the Greek music, you know?
I've said it many times. It sounds like I'm going to a restaurant in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, great.
And I'm going to have, you know,
Euros,
gyros. Exactly
tzatziki,
right.
saganaki.
Which
Anyway,
reminds me,
yeah,
not Greek. I'm having ravioli when I get home.
that's Italian. We went to an Italian restaurant the other night run by Greeks.
Oh, let's talk about this.
That was so weird.
Let's talk about what
Yeah,
happened.
do it.
This is a Suva. Is Marnie, myself, and Tom, we're driving back from the show. It was fantastic. We're all hungry. Let's get something to eat. And we're looking around Newtown, Marrickville, and we're like, what's going to be open?
Yeah, and I'm really difficult at the moment, so I'm all like, oh no, don't choose because of me. And Marnie's all like, no, I'll eat anything. And Broden's all like, can one of yous fucking choose? You know?
Yeah. I really started to, you know, I went off. And then we're in Marrickville. I went, there it is, the pizza place.
Yeah,
Fuck
perfect.
it, you know, La Porchetta vibes.
Yeah.
Let's go in. And we walk in, it's empty. It's 9:30 at night.
Yeah, there's a couple of people hanging around. It looks like they could be customers, could be workers.
9:30 Wednesday night, there's a bunch of old dudes sitting at a table.
Yeah.
And I go, are you open? They went, yeah, mate, yeah, nah, yeah, come in, yeah, nah, yeah. And so, all right, great, sit down. No one's wearing a uniform or anything. It's just a bunch of dudes.
Very hard to work out who worked there and who didn't.
This is my vibe. It's just people who kind of half live there, half
hang out there. They're not employed, but they'll take an order if everyone's busy.
So they're sitting at a table. One guy clearly like the owner. They're all Greek.
Yeah, they're all Greek.
Italian restaurant.
So they have like, it's a full pizza place, full Italian, but then they have like tzatziki and dip, you know?
There's one guy in high vis who's had a few.
Yeah, he's had a few.
So we sit down and we're eating.
Yeah.
I said no anchovies on my capriciosa. Got him with anchovies.
He got anchovies.
Everything's fine. All good. Having nice chats with them.
Yeah.
Good banters, talking to them. We have a nice night.
Spoke a lot, actually, with the owners.
Yeah,
and stuff.
it was just nice vibes.
Yeah.
And as we're going, one of them goes, they've paid for your whole dinner. So the guy who'd had a few in high vis definitely didn't work there.
Definitely didn't work there.
Just paid for our whole dinner. And
Like
he's like,
an uncle or
and he
something.
just kept saying, he was on the phone this whole time as well. He just goes, you're good people.
Good people.
Good people. I'm like, fuck, get out of here before he changes his mind.
I know, because it wasn't cheap either. Like we probably spent like $200 probably.
Yeah, it was weird. That's Sydney hospitality. So he gets a Suva, high vis man on his phone. Thank you for dinner.
Okay, so first one. We don't knock the umpires here on this show, but there's one rule we've got to give a malacca to, Broden. And that's, if you hand it to the wrong person, it's 50. And if you hand it back too slow, it's 50. It caused two massive dramas in the game. Probably cost the game. And I just think it's... What are you supposed to do? Dacos doesn't get pinged for taking 30 seconds to work it out. I think Dunkley saying, give me the ball, and getting thrown the ball. I just think that rule's so cooked. I don't know what the answer is.
I was not wrapped with any umpiring this weekend. I don't have to go into it, but some of it was just...
I mean, but the reason I'm focusing on that is because that's a rule. Like, that rule needs to be changed. You know?
Yeah. It was wrong in the middle of the year when Collingwood... They just picked up at one point, you've been doing it all night, so I'm going to ping you now for not giving back. Like, it's not right. And I think overall the umpiring was like, they let it go, but then when they didn't let it go, it seemed like putting it under a microscope. So that was really frustrating. It's hard, all the things that are hard for someone to objectively think. Like, there was a too far called one game, and then the next game someone ran maybe 3 times.
Yeah,
that.
too far from Chol, and it was like 10 meters in retrospect. It was crazy. It was really, really. And
then the next night, someone ran... triple it, and it wasn't called.
And it's a difficult game to adjudicate, so I'm always, with a grain of salt.
What else you got?
I think Ken gets one. A soft one, because I like Ken. I think he would, if he was here, he'd say, give me a Malacca, boys. I made a mistake. I overstepped.
Is that what he would say?
He'd say, I give me one. Give me a Malacca.
It would take a lot of explaining to him to go, okay, there's a segment called Malacca.
I want you to give yourself one because you made a mistake.
All right.
And then I think the Giants get one for squandering a fucking brilliant year, brilliant list, brilliant coach. Guys, I don't want to see you going out in straight slits next year, right? This is a warning. All right. And the next one is funny. This is a little rib at you, Broden. Don't take it too personally. But Broden hates tolls.
Oh, I hate tolls.
And we've had a
We almost didn't talk about this. I think we've buried the lead. This is the best story. This is the best story of the week.
It's so Broden.
Oh, God.
Tell it to us then.
On my Google, and this is not strange.
It is. It's very strange.
On my Google, I have put, because I live near the fucking CityLink.
Yeah.
And if you get on CityLink,
Oh, it's expensive.
14 bucks at
14
20 bucks.
20, 14, yeah.
3, I put the option on Google, avoid tolls.
Yeah. And this has made us
in the
almost
past-
late.
In the
few
past,
times.
I've done it and it's really fucked me, but only ever when Tom's in the car.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to go out to see the Southside Flyers out in Knox or wherever it
Yeah,
is.
my map said 15. Get in the car with Broden, it takes 40.
Yeah, and then I was like, fuck, it's because I didn't turn the stupid thing off. But it's only when you're, and then the second time it's happened is we're driving to the airport on Thursday morning from Sydney. It's a 12-minute trip.
Yeah.
First mistake I did is I didn't put in, because Sydney's a stupid idiot place.
Yeah.
There's 2 airports. There's Sydney International, Sydney Domestic, right next to each other, but they're around there. If you put in one, it's another, you get it wrong.
Yeah.
So I just put in Sydney Airport. So that Google has dropped a pin in the middle.
Yeah.
So like an approximation of where the airport is. The first mistake I did was that.
Yeah.
I didn't put Sydney Domestic. Second thing I'd done is because I was in a rental, good people at Hertz and stuff,
Lovely.
I turned off tolls.
Yeah.
In case I went on a toll. So we're driving to the airport. I miss a turn.
By like 5 meters. He just was one of those ones where there's 2 left turns, 5 meters apart.
And it added 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And Sydney's roads are, not even a point of discussion, fucked.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, whoops. We just have to go up one more and turn around.
Yeah.
And then there must, I can't even visualize it, but there was a turn left and then there must have been a meter forward, another left.
Yeah.
And I've taken the first
You
left.
took the first left.
Which, it was like tiny issue. We're in the suburbs of Sydney next to the
no
airport.
big deal.
So we turned the corner. I must have missed the left. I should have gone to the left after this left.
Yeah.
We turn and it very, like, comedically quickly revealed itself to be a major tunnel.
Yeah.
We were entering a major tunnel and our ETA from Sydney Airport went from 3 minutes to 47 minutes because I'd turned 1 meter too early.
But we didn't know about the tolls thing. So me and Broden were just like, what the fuck? When are we going to get out of this tunnel? Like, what the fuck?
And
We're-
from
we're
our
stuck in
understanding,
this tunnel.
we're just in this tunnel to fucking Newcastle.
Yeah, and we're like, oh my God, we're going to drive 36 kilometers in this tunnel, then get off and
And I start to have a proper fucking panic
Yeah,
attack.
and I was like, it's all good. We'll make the flight. Like, we've got to return the car, but
I was like,
we'll make it.
Yeah, we got a flight to catch. It's boarding at 11:30, and this gets us to the airport now at like 11:15.
Yeah, and
I'm
we've got to
like-
return the car.
And I'm freaking. I'm like, what the fuck has happened? How is this fucking? I'm like, feel completely fucked. And then they're like, we're driving. I'm like, what are we gonna do?
And then I check on my maps, and I'm like, no, Broden, there's something wrong with your maps. Mine says it's 12 minutes.
So
If
yeah,
we just get off
and then an
here.
exit comes up, and we get off there. I'm like, the fucking toll thing's on. So Google's had a fit and gone, nah, we got to drive to Parramatta now.
Yeah, because this guy won't have tolls. This
even though we're on
stingy
a
guy.
toll or
Yeah.
whatever. And so we just get off and it's back to like 4 minutes. But for a minute there, the most horrifying moment of it going from you're 3 minutes away from your destination to 47
47.
and we're going to miss the flight.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I get Malacca of the week for that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, but yeah, you do. All right, Suvers really quickly. So yeah, everyone who came to our Sydney show, I think they get a massive Suva. Legends.
Yeah.
I think Danaher deserves one because, geez, he just
Big win.
when it matters.
Big super win down
Gun.
here.
I think we're about to kick to draw the game.
Gold
Gold Coast
after the
versus
siren.
GWS after the siren.
Gold Coast is kicking after the siren
It's 36 to 30.
for a draw. So GWS are up by a goal. Holy fucking shit. I don't think she kicks this, man.
I think she does. I believe.
I don't know her name. It will live in infamy shortly if they kick it. They went for a set. We're going to call it lining up.
I would love a draw. Oh, beautiful off the boot.
She's kicked the goal
She kicked a goal. It's a
after
draw.
the siren and drawn. Let's quickly
Fucking
find out.
gorgeous.
What's her name? Oh, what's that? Oh,
I didn't recognize the player,
that's
which will get
incredible.
me in trouble.
That's incredible. We've seen, and she's revved up too.
Yeah, revved up for a draw. It's sad because there's no music playing and no one wins, but fucking ripper kick though. Never in doubt.
Gold Coast really celebrated the moment, which is fantastic to see. But yeah, that's the Suva of the week, I think.
That's the Suva of the week right there. The only other two I had was Mac getting paid. Hey, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, Mac.
Mac.
Yeah, we talked about it. No, we didn't.
Yeah, because it came out afterwards.
$12 million. My main thing on that is I'm just so excited for what that means to Sudanese Australian people, because it's like there's a player who's come here as a refugee and their family has come as refugee, and now $12 million playing Australian football. It's so cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think it's a good choice. He clearly could still be anything.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think there's a this settles him now. Hopefully he doesn't drop off. But that was fantastic.
He's too talented to drop off. He might have patches, but if he's bad at back, just send him forward. But I think the other thing I'll say is, Broden, expect Sam Darcy's to be more.
Yeah, we're going into the era where everyone's going to get paid a bag.
Yeah.
That was Jamie Stanton who kicked that goal, by the way, who was our Suva, 17. Wow, man, so good. Yeah, great. They're
incredible.
Good Suvas, Tom.
And then, 2 ripper games of footy, obviously.
2 ripper games of footy.
Just a big, lovely weekend of footy.
Headlines this week.
Oh, yeah. 3. I had... Yeah, you go.
Ken Hinkley.
I had...
all 3.
Ginnivan, Hinkley, on repeat. But then I had, now that the finals are over, we turn our focus to the draft. A bit of Vic bias. And the third one I had was Broden curses all teams he likes with straight sets exits.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We only have 2 more of these Monday episodes, and then it's just into the W on the Thursday. So we're almost there, Tom. Have a great week. Enjoy the footy. We'll see you on Thursday. Bounce that pill.
Good episode, Broden.
Yeah, likewise, Tom. Good episode. I always think it's not going to go long, this one, and then that one felt like an hour 40.
Yeah.
Like we just kept talking.
We loved it.
Thank you, everyone, for hanging around and joining us for that one.
Yeah, do you have some good comments on the Instagram?
Oh, yeah, love on the Instagram.
Oh, what do you call that?
This is YouTube, Tom.
Oh, yeah, YouTube.
There's some lovely chats from people helping me with the Jamie Stanton thing.
Yeah, I love that.
Very, very helpful. We got to wait around here, Tom and I, because Jack Rewalt's coming in to bash us.
Did I just kill your sound? Oh, no, you still got it. Good.
Yeah, so he's coming in to tell us what's what, and he's going to be the chat next. We wanted to keep the expert level going. You know, we had Mark, who's an expert. We had Zach, who's an expert. So next week, Jack. Yeah, it was good. It's good. People really enjoyed Mark and Zach, but now it's back to proper people who know what they're bloody talking about. Any questions before we get out of here, fam? Bounce that pill. I'll just sit here in silence. I don't care.
End the stream. No one's talking to you.
No one's talking to me. It hurts. All right. Thanks, fans. Friends, not fans. What's for dinner? I'm having ravioli. What are you going to have, Tom?
I've got this keto thing where it's like you cook chicken in tomatoes, so it's like a bake, and then you put lots of cheese on it. And it's really yummy.
Fuck yeah. Arsenal Tottenham tonight. What time is it on? Does Broden stay up to watch it, is the question. 11 p.m. Oh, it would be a huge win for Tottenham. Be absolutely huge. Be huge for our boy Ange. I have no faith. You need to do Zach and Mark on the pod together. You can actually listen to that every fucking week. It's called the Auntie Donna podcast.
Yeah, and I'm often on there too.
But, that'd be great. All right, folks. We'll speak to you soon. Have a great one. Ta-ta. Bounce up.